Okay, mate, so unfortunately we've picked up some grid penalties and we are going to start tomorrow's race further back than we expected. I don't know how bad it's going to get yet, because that's going to depend on everyone else. All we can do is control our own performance, and I know you're good at that.
Welcome back to Qatar. Lusail International Circuit is our venue, famous for races on two wheels through the years. Its F1 bow saw a Hamilton win. Who takes the flag today? 3.3 miles, 16 turns with a single DRS zone at the exit of turn 16. It is a fast and flowing track with plenty of overtaking expected through the DRS zone down into turn 1. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. George Russell will begin today's event in pole position, and Jack Doohan completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Verstappen, Albon, Richards, Oscar Piastri, Sainz, Leclerc, Liam Lawson, Gasly, Norris, Ocon, Hauger, Joe, Tsunoda, Ricciardo, Bottas, Magnussen, Sargent, Teo Porcher, Perez, and Lance Stroll brings the grid to a close. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today? Anthony Davidson, a very warm welcome to you as you join me in the commentary box for today's event. Let's talk about Richards. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
It's been a really solid year so far. There have been some incredible standout performances, but what's really impressed me has been the consistency. With this kind of form, I'm expecting another great race today.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down. Okay, so our system checks are good. We need to stay in formation and start bringing the car up to temperature, please. Get some load into the tyres and work the brakes. We want them nice and warm by the end of this lap. Confirmed. Got that, confirmed. Okay, incredible parking there, nice one. That's going to give you the edge if you can get good launch as the race starts. Keep an eye on the lights, the start sequence will begin as soon as the grid is formed. Be ready with the clutch. Jack behind. burn off some of this energy. Now use DRS now available. Russell behind. Okay, the gap is less than a second. They're on fresh softs. Okay, they've got 4 laps on their tyres. Okay, we think they've got 2 stops remaining. 2 stops remaining. Your last lap time was a 1 minute 28.8. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 3.2 seconds. They're on fresh softs. They're in 4th. And the time last lap was a 1:29.3. Okay, 2 stops left now, 2 stops. Your pit window opens in 15 laps time. Okay, Russell's behind you now, and the gap behind us is 1.4 seconds. They're on fresh softs. Okay, they've got 4 laps on their tyres. Okay, we think they've got 2 stops remaining. 2 stops remaining. Time last lap was a 1 minute 28.8. Someone's come off ahead of you. There's a yellow flag ahead. Okay, the incident's been cleared. Let's get back up to racing speed. Come on. You're in first position, front of the pack. Russell behind. Okay, the gap behind is 2.1 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. You've got 11 laps until your pit window opens, and that's 49 laps to go. Gap to your teammate behind is 8.3 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. They're currently 6th. Your last lap time was a 1:29.8. Okay, copy that. Okay, Russell's behind you now. Our gap behind is 3.9 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. Okay, we think they've got 2 stops remaining. 2 stops remaining. And the time last lap was a 1:29.6. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 10.9 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. They're currently 6th. Time last lap was a 1:30.1. There's a new strategy available on the MFD. Say that again, we're having trouble receiving you. We'll make the changes to the front wing next time you're in. Front wing angle to +1. +1 now. Catch that, mate. Just say it again. Please repeat, you're breaking up. Didn't receive that. Repeat the message. Repeat the message. Right, we have 2 stops left in this strategy. 2 more stops planned. Your pit window opens in 8 laps time. Piastri's behind you now. Okay, so the gap to the car behind is 5.5 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. Okay, we think they've got 2 stops remaining. 2 stops remaining. Your last lap time was a 1 minute 29.3. Gap to your teammate behind is 12.3 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. They're currently 6th. And the time last lap was a 1:30.5. Tyre condition still looking good. Okay, push, gap to the car behind, 4.0 seconds. Repeat that, I've got some interference here. Piastri's behind. Okay, car behind trailing us, 4.0 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. Their tyres are 13 laps old. Okay, we think they've got 2 stops remaining. 2 stops remaining. Time last lap was a 1 minute 29.5. the pack, that's P1. Piastri's behind you now. Okay, gap to the car behind. 5.8 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. Your pit window opens in 5 laps time. 5 laps. 43 laps to go. They're currently 5th. Okay, so the gap is 16.9 seconds. Your last lap time was a 1:30.4. Okay, the static over the radio. Say it again. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 17.8 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. They're currently 6th. And the time last lap was a 1:31.0. Approaching the pit window now, and you're going to be on hards next time. Understood, copy that. Okay, Leclerc's just set the fastest lap of the race so far. Piastri's behind. We're leaving the car behind by 11.7 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. Their tyres are 18 laps old. Okay, we think they've got 2 stops remaining. 2 stops remaining. Time last lap was a 1:30.8. Box, we're coming in this lap. No rain expected for the time being. Dries definitely seem like the fastest tyre at the moment. Say that again, we're having trouble receiving you. Copy that. You're in first position, front of the pack. Piastri's behind you now, and the gap behind us is 11.7 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. Pit window's now open, pit window is open. 38 laps to go. No tyre concerns at the moment, just focus on the driving. Gap to your teammate behind is 25.9 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. They're in fourth. Your last lap time was a 1:30.9.
Looks like the pit crew are out in the lane and ready to perform their magic on the car. They're going to be aiming to achieve the fastest pit stop time possible.
Okay, 1 stop to go, just 1 stop left in this strategy. Okay, Russell's ahead. Okay, keep an eye on that gap ahead, please. 4.9 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. Their tyres are 20 laps old. Okay, we think they've got 2 stops remaining. 2 stops remaining. And the time last lap was a 1:30.7. Overtake button more, it's time to utilise some of this energy, come on. Okay, here's the gap that we're trailing the car ahead by, 7.2 seconds. I didn't catch that, mate. Just say it again. Russell's ahead of you now. Okay, gap to the car ahead is 5.7 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. They've done 21 laps on those tyres. Okay, we think they've got 2 stops remaining. 2 stops remaining. The time last lap was a 1 minute 31.0. Breaking up. That's Russell just ahead, push for the position. Our gap to the car in front is 3.4 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. Okay, they've done 22 laps on those tyres. Okay, we think they've got 2 stops remaining. 2 stops remaining. Your last lap time was a 1:30.9. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 7.6 seconds. Ahead of you. Okay, gap ahead is 3.5 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. Their tyres are 23 laps old. Okay, we think they've got 2 stops remaining. 2 stops remaining. And the time last lap was a 1 minute 30.6. They're closing in by 3 seconds a lap. That was the fastest lap of the race. Keep this up. Well done. Jack's in the pits. Jack in the pits. happy. Didn't receive that. Repeat the message. Repeat the message. Repeat that. I've got some interference here. Piastri's behind. Okay, the gap behind is 6.1 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. Okay, they've done 25 laps on their tyres. Okay, we think they've got 2 stops remaining. 2 stops remaining. Time last lap was a 1:30.5. Okay, the static over the radio. Say it again. Gap to your teammate behind is 42.9 seconds. They're on fresh softs. They're in 9th place. Your last lap time was a 1:33.0. They're currently 5th. The difference is 30.7 seconds. And the time last lap was a 1:29.8. That's P1. Piastri's behind you now. Our gap behind is 10.7 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. Your pit window opens in 15 laps time. Okay, 30 laps till the end now. Okay, we've got 37 laps of fuel remaining. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 42.1 seconds. Say that again, we're having trouble receiving you. I didn't catch that, mate, just say it again. Leclerc behind. Okay, so the gap to the car behind is 20.9 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. Their tyres are 13 laps old. We think they've got one more stop. Time last lap was a 1 minute 28.7. Leclerc is behind you. Okay, push, push. Gap to the car behind. 22.2 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. Their tyres are 13 laps old. We think they've got one more stop. Your last lap time was a 1:28.7. Please repeat, you're breaking up. Alright, we'll be doing one more stop today. One stop left in this strategy. Pit window opens in 12 laps time. 12 laps. First position, front of the pack. Leclerc behind. Okay, car behind trailing us, 23.9 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. You've got 11 laps until your pit window opens, and 26 laps to go now. No need to worry about the tyre condition for now, everything's looking good. And we've got 32 laps of fuel left in the tank. Didn't receive that. Repeat the message. Repeat the message. Repeat that. I've got some interference here. Leclerc is behind you. Okay, gap to the car behind. 25.6 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. Their tyres are 16 laps old. We think they've got one more stop. And the time last lap was a 1 minute 29.1. Gap to your teammate behind is 43.5 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. They're currently 5th. Time last lap was a 1:28.2. You're leading the pack, that's P1, Leclerc behind. We're leading the car behind by 29.1 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. The pit window will be open in 7 laps time. Okay, 22 laps left. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 44.3 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. They're currently 5th. Your last lap time was a 1 minute 28.3. Okay, so we've got 27 laps of fuel remaining. 27 laps. Confirmed. Got that, confirmed. You're in first position, front of the pack. Leclerc is behind you, and the gap behind us is 31.9 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. Your pit window opens in 5 laps time. 5 laps. You've got 20 laps left until the end. Okay, the static over the radio. Say it again. And we've got 25 laps of fuel remaining. Okay, they're on old softs. They're currently 5th, and the time last lap was a 1:29.2. They're in 9th place. The time last lap was a 1:29.1. Say that again, we're having trouble receiving you. Leclerc behind. Okay, the gap behind is 33.5 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. We think they've got one more stop. Your last lap time was a 1:29.8. Gap to your teammate behind is 47.7 seconds. Okay, copy that. Okay, we're approaching the pit window. You're going to be on softs. Understood. Copy that. Tyre condition still looking good. Jack's coming in for his stop now. They're on fresh mediums. They're in 9th place. They're currently 5th, and the time last lap was a 1 minute 27.5. They're on fresh mediums. They're in 9th place. Piastri's behind. Our gap behind is 34.0 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. We think they've got one more stop. Time last lap was a 1:28.5. Battery charge is high, let's use that overtake button a bit more. In this lap, push now. Piastri's behind you now. Okay, so the gap to the car behind is 33.7 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. Their tyres are 13 laps old. We think they've got one more stop. The last lap time was a 1 minute 28.7. Copy that. Okay, we can take you this lap.
Looks like the pit crew are out in the lane and ready to perform their magic on the car. They're going to be aiming to achieve the fastest pit stop time possible.
Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound. You're leading the pack, that's P1. Norris behind. Okay, push, gap to the car behind, 54.0 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. Their tyres are 12 laps old, and the time last lap was a 1:27.9. Copy. first position, front of the pack. Norris is behind you. Okay, car behind trailing us, 29.9 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. That was our last stop, no more scheduled pit stops. Let's go, 13 laps to go. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 45.1 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. Time last lap was a 1 minute 27.0. Okay, gap to the car behind, 32.3 seconds. And we've got 16 laps of fuel left, 16 laps. pack, that's P1. Piastri's behind. We're leaving the car behind by 36.6 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now. 9 laps to go. "13 laps of fuel remaining. They're on fresh mediums. They're currently 6th. Your last lap time was a 1:27.0. They're currently 5th, and so the difference is 44.2 seconds. And the time last lap was a 1:28.7. No tyre concerns at the moment, just focus on the driving. Position, front of the pack. Piastri's behind you now, and the gap behind us is 38.9 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound. All right, 6 laps to go now. Nine laps of fuel to go, 9 laps left. They're on fresh mediums. They're currently 6th. Time last lap was a 1:27.5. They're currently 5th. Your last lap time was a 1 minute 29.2. That's P1, Piastri's behind. They're on fresh mediums. That was our last stop, no more scheduled pit stops. Let's go. 4 laps remaining. Okay, we've got 7 laps worth of fuel remaining. I didn't catch that, mate. Just say it again. Please repeat, you're breaking up. Didn't receive that. Repeat the message. Repeat the message. Okay, no issues with tyre wear for now. Keep taking care of them. Confirmed. Got that, confirmed. Just 5 laps of fuel remaining. Piastri's behind you now. Okay, the gap behind is 43.9 seconds. They're on old mediums. Their tyres are 12 laps old, and the time last lap was a 1:27.2. Okay, the underbody's taken some damage. You might start to notice it soon. Okay, mate, this is the final lap of the race. Final lap. They're on old mediums. They're currently 6th. Time last lap was a 1:27.1. Oh, superb driving. That is the race win, my friends. Well done.
And they're heading to the top step. What a phenomenal effort from the team here in Qatar. That is a fully deserved victory. Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
I really feel the track layout combined with the track temperatures we saw today suited their car. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature, and the driver did a great job managing that as well. They just look so comfortable out there. It's like anything, it always looks so easy when it all just clicks.
Welcome then to the podium, our top 3 drivers. What a great effort from them today in a very difficult race. So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. Richards increases their championship lead. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
I have to give it to Richards.
It's time to check out the Constructors' standings. The owner-drivers team moved to the top of the table. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who's joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.